So what happens when society loses the idea of God as a whole? This is where it gets scary. This is a massive philosophical problem for our day. Smart people at Harvard are trying to figure it out. If there is no God, which we know that's poppycock, where then do we root or moor or anchor our belief that there are such a thing as civil rights? I'll tell you how they're answering that question. You anchor it in capacities. You anchor it in capacities. Do they have the capacity to reason morally? Do they have the capacity to make decisions? Do they have the capacity to live independently? Do they have the capacity to survive on their own? Do they have the capacity to contribute productively to society? We begin mooring rights in capacity rather than in image of God. And as Peter Singer of Princeton University writes, I think accurately, he says, I understand completely why the Supreme Court was right when they said abortion was okay for the reasons they put forth. Why? Because life in the womb has no capacities. The fetus can't make choices. The fetus can't live on its own. The fetus has no more reasoning. It cannot live apart from its mother. They simply don't have capacities. Therefore, they don't have rights. But then he continues in his writing, and he just torques people off when he writes this way. He says, however, for that line of reasoning to be consistent, of which I think it should be, if that's what we're going to make laws around, then I argue for the right to, up until the time my baby can reason morally, kill it if it becomes inconvenient. Because most kids up to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 aren't reasoning morally and can't make decisions or live on their own yet. And I want the right to be able to off my grandpa who's sucking my savings account right now, or my parents, don't get nervous down here, or my parents, if they get old and senile. I want the right, because if my dad loses capacity and becomes a hassle, I don't want his right to live to intercede with my right to choose how I want to live. Where do you moor civil rights? If you don't moor in the image of God, you moor it in capacity. And you can see the danger that creates.